And we are back. It's your homies, your pals, your buddies. I mean, we're pals, we're buddies. That's the way I look at it. It's Hogan, it's Mike. We're here on the From Drinking Buddies. Damn it! I knew I was gonna screw it up again. I was like, you're not gonna do it this time. You're not gonna do it.
It's
And I
fine.
did it anyway. It's fine. It's fine. We're on episode 5 at this point, dude.
Yeah.
What do you think? 5 episodes in? Like, are we crushing it, or should we I'm ready to quit my day job if you are.
I mean, I don't have a J job, so yeah, that sounds good. But I'm just debating whether or not I'm getting sick and tired of talking to you or not. But yeah.
What the hell, man? I'm having a blast talking to
Kidding.
you.
No, it's good. I look forward to it.
Right.
I'm all week. I'm trying to think of weird things to talk about, and I'm like, yeah, maybe it shouldn't always be weird things.
Yeah, no, it's fun. The people get going. It gets the people going. Will Ferrell was it? My lovely lady humps, my humps. Yeah. No, I mean we got weird stuff to talk about. We had a blast last time talking about weird, crazy episodes. You gave me nightmares with that stupid Wienerville thing that I didn't want to ever see again. I showed Ashley the clip of that, and she was dying laughing because she was like, "I remember that. That was weird." And I was like, "Yeah, it haunted my dreams." And Mike immediately just brought it back and was like, wow, this is awful. I hate everything about this. I never wanted to see this again. Would have been perfectly content going the rest of my life without seeing that. And you had to just throw that in my face. So
yeah,
thank you so much for that.
It was worth it. All the 2 hours that I did of research was worth it just for that moment. I got to see if I could make a custom shirt or something like that and send it to you.
Please don't. I don't want to ever. No, just no, never again. Well, anyway, let's get into what we wanted to yap a little bit about today, because we have for those of you out there, I'm sure a million people on the planet have group chats, and of course we have one with all of our old track buddies, former roomies, people that we hold near and dear to our hearts. And of course, it's usually just reserved for birthday stuff, talking shit about football games and other things, and then we got one the other day from, well, who's it? Kevin, I think, sent it about the NCAA is contemplating, what was it, adding a 5th year of eligibility. Was for across the board for all sports, or I didn't really look into it. What do you got about it?
One of our other buddies who's kind of still a college coach was giving a little bit more detail, and I think there's specific sports and there's like age limits and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just, I mean, there wasn't a specific, I think it was like anybody that basically meets this criteria of like under the age of 29 or something like that in specific sports could have their 5th year of eligibility, which I think is ridiculous. I think that I'm not a big fan of the NCAA. I don't know if you are or aren't, but I think the reason why they're pushing it is now because especially with like athletes. I don't really watch a lot of NCAA because I never really liked it. So I don't know if it's just football athletes that are getting paid, or if like basketball and other sports can also get money or not. But it might just be football. But I would assume that colleges, if they're making money off of students, they would want them to be there longer to essentially make more money off of them. That's my opinion.
I think I could be wrong on this, because again, I'm a diehard Texas fan of football, obviously, first and foremost.
Hook 'em horns or whatever it is.
No, it's not that. Yeah, that's real. Come on, I'm literally wearing the hat. No, it's the name and image likeness, NILs or whatever it's called. I think that's where they can start taking. They can make big. The athletes can make money off of their name and image, where before they weren't able to do that. And of course they can get, sponsorships and all that. So I don't think I'm like 99% sure it's not just football. It's technically any student athlete can participate in it, but it's just football primarily is the dominant one, because that's, the money maker across the board, where that's what everybody knows and worships and all that. But no, I'm on the same boat as you, where I'm not a fan of the NCAA in the slightest. I think they've for a long time have been a really, I don't know if I would use the word corrupt, but not morally good. Maybe I'll go with. It's just that they just, I don't know. I mean, it's ironic. Well, not ironic, but it's just interesting because you and I participated as NCAA athletes at Springfield, even though we were Division III, and you know, of course, the joke in the group chat was like, hey, we can all suit up for Springfield again. It's just like my back already hurts thinking about that. Like, yeah, they can like, I'll go out to the shot put circle in like a wheelchair at this point. Like I'm all set. I ain't doing that again. I mean, I don't know about you.
If I could get my back in order, it would be nice to see if I could throw a discus again, but I would never do anything full spin. It would just be from the punch to see if I could still get like 80 out there. I'd be very happy with that.
I'd be excited to see if I could turn the hammer like spin once and just be like not fall on my ass. That would probably be an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like that athlete in you that's like, man, like, yeah, if I could go back, I got like all this knowledge and stuff now. But no, like you just were on just piss vinegar and testosterone and keystones and just rage. So like, I'm pretty sure that kid was a lot better off doing sports than I am right now.
Yeah, no, it's especially, I mean, you see, you know, athletes coming up that are bigger, stronger, faster now with the advances we have, whether it's technology and everything else. And it's kind of mind blowing to see. I mean, you compare athletes from when we were in college to like what you see now, and it is absolutely mind blowing to see what these guys can do physically and everything else. But again, it's that question again, where at what cost for both the athletes, for the NCAA and all this other stuff, where I don't know. I mean, I had my own issues with the NCAA when we were in college, because I don't know if you remember, a freshman year I broke my foot, and I actually had a hell of a time trying to redshirt my freshman year for winter track, and they wanted to like give me a bunch of crap about it. Like they were like, "You need to sign this document. You need to get verified by a physical, like not therapist, like my doctor and all this stuff." And I was like, I literally have a cast on my foot. Like, what do you mean I need it verified? Do you want to like look at my broken foot right now? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, well, we got to do this. And it was just like, at the end of it, I was like, was this even worth it? And of course I mean, technically I could still go back and do winter track for, you know, college at this point if I wanted to, but like, why? It's not worth it. But
yeah, the whole thing that you were talking about, whether or not like it's really like good or not, I think you were talking about that. It feels like they are packaging like, we're just going to make money, but it's for the students and they get to like learn and like it's beneficial for them. And it feels like it's almost like the way that I think Disney like is the root of all evil, that they're like super corrupt corporation. And they're just like, oh no, well, it's smiles and rainbows and castles and stuff. Like, so obviously if you just spend, I think my buddy just went there, it was like $2,000 a day. If you spend $2,000 a day, it's worth it to make the kids happy. And I feel like that's what the NCAA is doing. They're like, yeah, aren't you guys making like hundreds of millions of dollars? Like, don't look over here. Look at Timmy over here. He's got he's got a 4-year degree. And what are you taking? Like literature. Oh, he's got it in literature. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was that with like the quarterbacks that just had like, they were there for like 7 years, and they asked him in the interview, they were like, oh, how does it feel like managing a course load while going to like a national championship game? The guy's like, I haven't gone to class in 2 years. Like,
yeah, he's like, he graduated 2 years ago. Carson Beck. Yeah, that was again. It's like with that part of it, I always see like people are going to take advantage of rules and find loopholes and all that stuff. So I can see that, but at the same time, it gets so ridiculous where you see guys get like six, like you said, 6 or 7 years of eligibility, where you're just like, okay, haven't you been playing since like who is it? I think it was like Bo Nix. I forget if it was you or somebody else that I had a conversation with before he went pro to Denver. He played for Auburn, and then he went to Oregon after, and it was just like, I was like, I feel like Bo Nix has been playing in college for like 10 years. And then he got drafted by Denver, and I was like, how is this guy? Like, is this guy like 30 years old? I mean, granted, he wasn't, but it's just, it felt like he was there forever. But again, there were such different rules when you and I were participating, where I think they still had that old rule that if you transferred, you had to like sit out a year, or if you went from like one division to a higher division, you had to sit out for a year. And it was like a bunch of like crazy rules to discourage student athletes doing these things. But you bring up a really interesting point that I want to throw back to you with when it comes to the money. I mean, are you a proponent of student athletes getting paid what either for the NIL stuff, or do you think they should be like considered like workers where they're getting actually like paychecks from the NCAA? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I would have problems if they were like workers. The NIL thing though is kind of what I guess back when we were in school, I figured that they would do. Because I remember like Johnny Manziel got in trouble when they found him like charging for his autograph. And it's like,
Yeah.
why the hell can't he charge? It's his autograph.
Right.
Like, I understand that like he can't be like, hey, like I'm from this school, like now presenting Johnny Manziel from or this person from this school. Like you can't use the school's name, but if you're gonna like tweet out, hey, I'm gonna be at such and such, bring memorabilia, $10 a head, and I'll sign it. Like,
Yeah.
like how do you stop that? I don't know. The amateurism of it is kind of like wishy-washy. And I always wondered how, like, obviously they've been getting paid forever, whether it's from boosters with $100 handshakes and stuff, or what was it like? Certain people were just like, "Oh, how'd you get a brand new Mercedes when you lived in the hood and you're 18?" Like it's like, "Oh, yeah no shit, Sherlock" type of stuff.
It got donated to me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. But I always like didn't understand how companies weren't able to work around it anyway. I guess maybe they just would be like bad publicity on them to be like, "Oh, Jameis Winston now works for Red Lobster," when he was in college. And he's like a part, because you're allowed to be like a working athlete. Like you and me could have had jobs. Like technically you did have a job as an RA. Our other friend was a job as a security guard. So technically you can work.
Right.
But it's like, okay, so Red Lobster hires Jameis Winston or Foot Locker or whatever. And they're like, all right, welcome. Say hello to our newest team member, Jameis. He'll be at these stations. He'll be at Holyoke on Monday, and he'll be here on fucking Friday, and he'll be here. And it's like, how do you stop from someone doing appearances or like an alumni putting somebody like on his payroll? Like, right. Oh yeah, he's the assistant director of head sports analysis studies. And it's like, he's getting paid $250,000 a year for this job. And they're like, yeah, he's really good at his job. And it's just like nothing. So I don't know how they were able to like keep stuff from happening anyway.
I think the biggest thing with that is that it came down to which student athletes or, I don't know, families, if you want to call it that, could not get caught. Because I don't know if you recall, that was the big thing with Reggie Bush back at USC, where when he won the Heisman, they stripped him of his Heisman win from, what was that, 2004, 2005, whenever it was. I think it was 2004, because he like accepted, was it a car and I think like a house for his mom or something like that, where essentially it was a whole thing. NCAA found out and pretty much was like, hey, even though you're like one of the greatest running backs in college history, we're gonna take away your Heisman. Like nobody won it that year, which Vince Young should have won it anyway. That's besides the point. But yeah, it's I think it's whoever covers it up the best, because like you said, whether it's accepting handouts, whether it's accepting cars, houses, or whatever, you hear stories of people that went to class with student athletes that played football or do whatever else. And it's like, I read something the other day that was like, do they actually like go to class? Like, are they just there to play sports? Like, is that the big thing? And people will say all the time, like, depending on the popularity or how good the player was, they're not there to take class. They could give two shits. Yeah, they're going to give them a degree at the end, but it's like, you win a national championship, and anybody want to sit there and tell me what degree Johnny Manziel has? Anybody tell me what degree Jameis Winston has? Anybody tell me what degree Vince Young has? I don't fucking know, and nobody cares.
Von Miller does, though.
What has he got?
He's the chicken guy. That's what he went to school for, like poultry farming, and he's like,
that's not a thing.
It is. Apparently that's what he went to school for.
Went to school to be a chicken farmer.
I swear, dude, look it up. He's the largest African American owned chicken distributor, I think, in the country.
That makes me so angry.
But the only reason why I know that is because it's ridiculous. It's like really funny that's what he's into, is chickens.
Well, yeah, obviously
doing chickens. But yeah, I agree. I don't know what anybody else's majors are.
That's my point. Is like, I mean, that was, well, and you think about, that was the big thing that the NCAA had. It's I don't want to say like their draw for when it came to pushing not paying athletes was like, oh, well, these guys are getting full ride scholarships. They're getting degrees that will, if anything ever happens. Because a lot of times, the one thing that I always thought of when before they changed the rules with NIL and athletes getting paid and all that was more so that if these guys get hurt, that, hey, they're screwed because they can pull their scholarship. And it's just like, they're there to learn first and foremost to get a degree. That was the whole point of it. But in reality, again, they're there to play sports. That's what their draw is. And when you take that away from them, a lot of these times you see these guys phase out, like they're not going to last in college, because if you can't play, well, there's no pay, if that makes sense. So I was happy to see at least athletes get the fair chance for the NIL stuff, but I think it's been an overcorrection, if that makes sense, where you see stupidity. It's specific colleges, specific teams, specific players are the pedestal is like mountain high, and then like if you and I like at Springfield, like if we try to do NIL stuff, like nobody's paying us for a fucking autograph. Like I'm just gonna say it, like obviously, but you see a guy like Johnny Manziel or something like that, like yeah, they're gonna make thousands and thousands of dollars in an hour just to sign a couple of jerseys, footballs, whatever you want. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but it's like, where does that fine balance come in where schools can promise incoming guys or transfers or whatever the situation is to be like, hey, like, did you follow that story about the quarterback that went from like Tennessee to UCLA and he lost like $4 million or something like that?
What, in like endorsements?
Like NIL stuff. Like he was promised, it was something with like Tennessee where he was a starting quarterback and he was supposed to come back, and they had a big falling out where they like couldn't guarantee him like $6 or $8 million in NIL bonuses or whatever the hell you want to call it. And he like was like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, it became like a big thing. And then they were like, well, he's off the team. Fuck him. We're not dealing with him. And then he ended up going to like UCLA, and he sucked, and he made like a shit ton of money less for UCLA or something like that. So yeah. It's almost you're seeing it like almost like a pro athletes now, where it's like, oh, I'm holding out for more money. I'm a free agent. It's like, really, dude?
I mean, it's definitely unfortunate, but that's just the way that it is, and I think that's the way that it's always been. There was that's what I was searching before. I wasn't making phone calls. Did you ever watch The Scheme on HBO?
No.
You should watch it. It's a documentary about this kid, and he decides that he basically wants to be like, he was trying to almost become like a sports agent, but like he just grew up in the hood, and he would like, hey guys, like I'm going to talk on your behalf so that way you guys don't get banged by the NCAA, and like I'm going to negotiate for you. And it was like how all these kids were like, I forgot, there's like Arizona State, like in this documentary they have like video recordings of like this dude talking to coaches and like all this other shit, and the district attorney got involved, and like they tried to go after him. And he was like, why do you care about me? He's like, we got all these guys from all these major schools that like are literally trying to buy players from me, but you guys are trying to go after me. Like, and it was like this whole, it's really funny. The dude's hilarious. Like,
really?
The guy that they're trying to like stick all this to, and they like set up like this whole operation where he's on like a boat and they're meeting like the FBI. That's like these like and they're like, we need connections to this one and this one and this one. He's like, I'm not telling you that. Like it was just really, it was funny. He made the FBI, I think it was, and the NCAA look really stupid, and like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. It was like, as long as these coaches were still winning games, like the NCAA doesn't give a shit. Like and that's like part of the problem, is that as long as you win, you could do whatever you want to do. And then they try to pretend like, oh no, we're squeaky clean. Like, no.
And this is on a completely different subject, but like the hilarity of it that the FBI was going after like NCAA shit in this regard is just absolutely mind blowing to me. Where it's like, I would think you have a little bit bigger problems at this point that you want to bring your attention to, but no, I'll have to look that up. But again, it's just the NCAA. I don't know. I feel like they've been just a thorn in the side of student athletes and just like college sports for so long with the absolute ridiculousness of like specific things where, they want so hard to preserve their legacy is like another thing too, where I think, remember when our buddy Steve won nationals for the 100-meter dash, whatever he won it for. And he even told us, like, he was on the podium getting his first place medal and being like, dude, you're the number one sprinter in the country for your like division. And he said that not even like 3 seconds after they took the photo, gave him the medal and everything, ripped him down, marched his ass into the bathroom with like 10 dudes staring at his wiener, and we're like, piss right now. You piss right now, motherfucker. We need to know what you're on, if you're on anything. And he was just like, it was like the most uncomfortable piss of my life, because it's just 10 dudes staring at his wiener being like, we know you got something. And it's like, okay, or maybe he's just really fucking fast. You ever think of that?
I was gonna bring him up, not in that situation, but the fact that every year, like, we were like freaking out, like, I was like, oh no, if we smoke some weed, what's the random drug test gonna be? Who's gonna? It was always him. Yeah. It was always him. I don't know why any of us freaked out. Like, it was like, if you don't make nationals, they don't give a shit about you.
No, not at all.
Always the dudes that are the national champs are like, oh, we're gonna random drug test you, and you're like, dude, it's a team of what? 120 people 4 years in a row. I'm the one that gets tested randomly. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah. I remember they tried to like, what was it? Like, make us all like sweat and get nervous and stuff, where it's like, don't eat a bagel with everything on it, or poppy seeds.
Poppy seeds. Yeah.
Which actually, believe it or not, that's still a thing, that if you eat a bagel with poppy seeds, like, I actually did get nervous about that, because, well, not that I had a bagel before I went for my drug test for my new job, but like, that was one thing that they warned me about. But even then, I like took like cold medicine because I wasn't feeling good beforehand, and it was like, oh, you could actually fail a drug test from like NyQuil, and I was like, fuck. So I had to reschedule everything, because I was like, I am not losing this job opportunity by
caffeine. People were worried about if you drink too much caffeine, you get popped. Yeah, we were like freaking out about like a lot of stuff. Can I have Powerade? Is that okay?
Which is so ridiculous to think about. Like, dude, like, you had so many dudes and people like injecting shit in them and being like, again, depending on how good you were or what your team was or anything else, like, you can't sit there and tell me that there weren't people doing absolutely crazy ass shit that the NCAA was like, wow, well, you better not, but like, don't look at this guy over here. Like, he's definitely not on anything, because he makes us like, an extra like $20 million a year based off of like, could you imagine if Tim Tebow like got caught like doing drugs? Like, the NCAA would just be like, no, not him. Anybody but him. That was Slim Bebo. That was not Tim Tebow. I can tell you that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were the ones shoving pills and shit down Manziel's face. They're like, if you could play like this, fucked up, like,
right,
we left the medicine cabinet open, you can't go in there, but nobody's watching it. Like, it's definitely right over there, and it's wide open, and nobody will ever catch you, but you better not take anything out of that.
Yeah,
as long as you throw for like 8 touchdowns a game.
Yeah, you see that syringe sitting right there? It definitely doesn't have like morphine or anything in it. Like, don't go near that. But if you do, that's what's in there. So be really careful, like, especially around your knee area that's bothering the shit out of you right now. Yeah, it's you absolutely know it's a favorites like system where they're gonna pick and choose with that. And at the end of the day, the little guy always gets screwed over, or they have to set the example or whatever other bullshit that, again, save their legacy. Which at this point, like, what's the NCAA's legacy? Being a bunch of like Karens that just like, you'll go after dudes that want to make a bigger, better name for themselves. I mean, the biggest thing is like, a lot of times, like, you look at now for me that I see like athletes choosing what schools they go to and what's happening. They pick it based off of solely like, is this my best chance to get like in the pros? It's not, again, like, for me, I don't know about for you, it was like a big decision when I was graduating high school, and I had, my choices were, I was looking at UConn, I was looking at UNH, I was looking at Springfield, and Springfield was it wasn't immediately my number one school. I really liked UConn a lot, but I also wasn't sure if I liked the big school atmosphere and all that. And I'd been to UNH a million times. And again, I wanted to get away from New Hampshire a little bit, because it was like, that's all I'd known for 18 years at that point. But like, Springfield was like the offer where like I could play football, I could do track, I could like, it was a student athlete campus. It was like, an opportunity to almost like a fresh start kind of thing. So when the decision came that I ended up choosing Springfield, it felt like it really mattered because of a lot of other factors just besides sports, where again, now you see guys making decisions based off of, oh, well, this school is going to pay me this much in NIL. Like, fuck the school, fuck the whatever else. Like, I'm going to get $8 million at Oregon based off of like this, and then Texas A&M's only going to give me $2 million. Like, I'm not going to go play there. Like, it takes a little bit of like, I know you said you're not a fan of like the NCAA, but like it almost like takes like that special feeling of it away because you don't see real recruitments anymore. From my perspective, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, isn't there like the whole thing with like the transfer portal now is crazy? Like,
right.
You would know more about this than I do, but I thought like I don't know. It's like kids don't get to be kids anymore. Now they're just at first people were like, well, once you get to the NFL, you can understand that like you're like 23 and what are you going to do with all this money? Like of course you're going to be irresponsible. Now it's getting into like 17 and 18-year-old where they don't even have to like hide it. Like, hey, mom and dad, put it in a fund. Maybe we'll get like a brand new Honda Civic so it doesn't look sketchy. And then once I graduate, like then you could upgrade your house and do all this shit. But now it's just like they just got money. Everybody knows they got it. So then they get to go out and just act a fool as like a child.
Right.
Like, so yeah, it's pretty like just like a wild concept to like really think about. And then as far as like picking schools too, I mean, Springfield definitely was not the first choice. I think my dad still was hoping that I would play football somewhere, even though I was injured all the time from football. But I was looking for like swimming and possibly doing track and field. And Springfield was the first place where I walked in. I spoke to her coach, and I was just getting into like heavy lifting. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do swimming. I got to get in the pool at like 6 a.m. every morning for like the whole year. He's like, if you do track, he's like, you're going to have to bulk up. And I was like, really? I'm like, when are lifts? He's like, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, like 3 times a week. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're going to have to put on like a lot of mass. And I was like, sold. Every swim coach was like, you can't lift weights. You can't do any of this. We don't want you. Like, you have to stay trim. I was already like oversized for a swimmer when I was 17, like getting like recruited. So I was like, done. I was like, I get to drink, I get to put on weight, and I get to lift heavy things. I was like, sign me up.
Which is hilarious to think about. Like, look at Michael Phelps. You think that dude like lifts weights and fucking does like insane workouts and shit? Like, yeah, he lifts weights. The dude is like absolutely ridiculous. I mean, no offense, I'm not comparing you to Michael Phelps. I'm just saying in general, it's mind blowing to me that swimmers shouldn't lift or whatever else that these archaic thoughts were for sports and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know if it was lift. I think that they do like very light stuff, or at least I don't remember ever seeing the swim team down in the weight room.
Right.
Ever.
That's my point.
Yeah.
And were they good?
I don't know.
Actually, I don't know either. I mean, but I didn't hear about them winning. So just saying, we were like 20 time in a row volleyball Division III champions, and at least the volleyball team was always down there lifting. So
yeah, it was volleyball and us. I think we're the 2 top teams on campus, I think.
Yeah, and then football was like up and down all the time with that. But either way, it's like you said, with the transfer stuff, I know that's like that. It's like you said, the wild, wild west now because there's no rules restricting people from going from one spot to the other. But again, for a long time, I wanted there to be such better and a better atmosphere when it came to the NCAA and the whole paying college student athletes, that whole thing. Because the money that the NCAA makes is just absolutely mind boggling. And you saw none of these guys, again, get compensated in any way, shape, or form. But now it's such an overcorrection because it's just, again, you look at you don't have to watch a ton of college football. And I can sit there and tell you like, oh, who made the playoffs this year? Probably Ohio State. Probably Alabama, probably Georgia, probably like some team for like Texas. No, I mean Texas didn't make it, which sucks. But like again, it's usually the same clump of schools where before, like you could go back and see that a lot of colleges, it was such a great time, like especially from the 90s into like I would say like mid to late 2000s, where it was such a stretch of different teams competing. and like USC was dominant for a while, but then Texas knocked them off, and then like it was like a whole like other thing with like Notre Dame got in there a couple times, and then of course Alabama just started going on the fucking run that they did, and I couldn't stand it. But like I said, it's just you saw such better competition across the board. Like Jameis, like think about Florida State. They won the national championship against Auburn that year, and like I don't think either one of them have like made the playoffs since they've started the new playoff format. But like that's what I'm talking about, is they don't have that advantage that your Alabamas, your Ohio States, your Michigans, your other crazy ass schools have, where they can pay these guys and do the crazy shit that the NCAA lets them get away with. I don't know. Do you see like? Do you think you would be more interested in like NCAA in terms of like whether it's college football or anything else if like they regulated something to some capacity where you could have better competition? Does that make sense?
Well, does it sound like you're trying to say that there's like a salary cap? At least that's what I'm getting out of it, that it's unfair that certain schools, just because of like what they could promote, like obviously if you go to Alabama or something like that, they're going to be able to be like, oh, just by being on our team and a starter, like you're guaranteed to make this, this, and this because we got Nike, Reebok, blah, 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 whatever in our pocket, and just from endorsements and appearances. And so it's like they just have more funds available to recruit. Like,
I mean, kind of. I mean, it's again, I'm not an expert on this by any means. I know Texas at one point was considered profitability wise like the highest like earning merchandise sold throughout the country, which I probably help a ton in that because of how much Texas crap I own, and I'm not even near them. But again, they weren't good at football for a while, so it's not like a guarantee that you were going to be good just because you got money into the program. But it's another factor of what I'm talking about now, where before it was, hey, you can have recruiting classes and you have coaches go out and meet these kids and like try and convince them like, hey, this is why this school is going to be great for you. We're building an amazing program. Like look at Indiana. Like, I don't know if you saw the story with Indiana this year with what they did in college football, where they were like, did anybody on the planet think of Indiana as a powerhouse football team 2 or 3 years ago?
yeah, but then it's like, are they going to be able to do it again?
That right.
Fluke.
Right. That's the thing. But again, like that's a Cinderella story for them, where you look at your teams that can sit there and be like, hey, we're Georgia, we can make sure you're going to get paid, you're going to be fine. Where I'm pretty sure nobody in Indiana's history has been like, yeah, you come here, you're going to get paid, you're going to be fine if you play for Indiana. Like, no.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing around most leagues that don't have like, I guess like a cap would be. It's the same thing even in like Major League Baseball. Like obviously, I know that you watch it, but you're not a huge fan. But it's like, yeah, the Dodgers get to pay everybody, and then everyone else in the league kind of is like left kind of holding their dick in their hand, being like, all right, I guess we'll take whoever's left. Like who else wants to play baseball? Come over here.
Right.
So I understand. I get that, but I don't think there's any way to like realistically regulate that, unless they just completely just give up on like being profitable. If they make it, if they turn it into like a non-profit where everything's equal, then it would be like, holy shit. But yeah, as long as that thing keeps churning out hundreds of millions of dollars, it's never going to change. And there's already like certain establishments that are already set to like, it's funny because like that might be one of the things where I think there is like a legit patriarchy.
Right.
Like that there's cornerstones that have been there for a long time and they help develop it. And like, there's no way of knocking a lot of these places out of the way, like just based on reputation alone. So, but yeah, no, it's crazy. How do you feel about, because you were kind of bringing it up before about with age, and now I'm trying to remember of like I came into school, I was younger than you guys technically. So I was 17 when I came in. Obviously, it was just like barely 21 when we left.
Yeah, but I got huge dick. Anybody out there listening that has no idea why I just said that, it was because that's what Mike did. Funny story. We'll have to talk about it at some point, but I'll let you continue. Please go.
Yeah, that was at NCAA Clearinghouse, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Shit. All right. That's how a lot of our friends met
not
me.
18. Mike's the only one raising his hand. Everybody's like, oh, look at the little baby. He's not even 18. He just stands up. Yeah, but I got a huge dick. From that point on, it was like, all right, well, he's not 18, but apparently he's got a huge dick. So that's yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely trying to have a pissing contest when you're a little kid. But But yeah, no, when it comes to like age, because I remember, I don't know if the science is still there or not, but I remember they were teaching us that like up until the age of like 27, you kind of can like physically like continue to like incline, like as far as like your strength and endurance and ability, and then it starts to kind of plateau and or peter off.
Yeah.
So like if they increase the eligibility for 5 years, or the fact that like kids can like redshirt for like 2 seasons, like even that seems like unfair and like less amateur. That like, all right, I'm 17, I'm coming in, and there's a possibility that I could compete against somebody that's like 24 in the same event that's had more years of like this type of training and this type of like it. Because I even tried, like I remembered when we first went in and we were competing against 21-year-old kids, and I was like, oh, this sucks. And then when I was 21, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I was like, I would have beat the piss out of my 17-year-old self at 21. And then I remembered in high school that there were some kids that were 21 in high school. So then now I'm like, is that kind of the same thing in college, that like you're a teenager for like 3 years out of 4, and then you're competing against somebody that's almost at like their legit like maturity,
Grown
like
men.
prime, their grown man era.
See, that's an interesting question to bring up, because I mean the biggest thing, like you kind of touched on it, where you talked about high school, where like I don't know about you, but I remember for me with high school, it's like when I was a senior walking around and I saw like freshmen, I was like, why are these fucking elementary kids, like students in here? Like, and it's like, oh, they're freshmen. I'm like, I was not like 20 pounds soaking wet and 4 foot nothing when I was a freshman. What the hell are we talking about here? Like, I was, no way that's possible. But then again, like you look at college and it was very similar too, where it's like we looked at some of the seniors and we were like, holy shit, like look at the size of these guys. And
like I came in at 170.
Right.
Is the weight I'm in now. When I left, I think we might have been around the same weight. I'm pretty sure I was somewhere between 230 and 250.
Right. No, well, that's why everybody thought we were brothers, obviously, because we both looked the same with that. But yeah, I don't know. But again, just because the age is a factor, I don't think it automatically means you're superior, whether it's, athletically or, mentally or anything else, because I mean, the potential is absolutely there. Don't get me wrong. But you could also make the same argument with, you look at like pro sports, where it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, why don't they have, an age cap for, let's say, the NFL or MLB or something like that, where you see guys that retire early, and then you see other guys that play either too long or just the perfect amount. Like it all kind of varies. So it's, a part of me wants to say, like, I agree with you. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here, where I see that the 5th year eligibility as there could be benefits to it depending on the situations, but there could also be misuses of it as well. Because a big thing, like I look at, what was his name there? Michael Penix for Atlanta. Dude didn't he tear both his ACLs in back-to-back years?
Honestly, it's possible. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you too much about Michael Penix.
Okay. All right. No,
Besides that, he has a competition with, or had a competition with Kirk Cousins, which is not good. It's
right.
not a good sentence to have. So
no, the reason why I know about him specifically is because, of course, Washington beat Texas in the playoffs 2 years ago when he was their quarterback, and then they got slaughtered by Michigan in the national championship. But they talked, of course, the biggest thing like about him was his injury history, what he went through, how he got over it, the fact that he's now in the pros and was taken, I think, like 9th overall, which was a shock and all that. But again, like, do you hold it against him for tearing his ACL or both his ACLs 2 years in a row? You're going to automatically take away that time from him. If, would it be circumstantial? Because it's like, did he play for half a season at that point? Was it preseason? Like, look at me with where I broke my foot freshman year at Springfield. Would you sit there? I competed in like 2 track meets before I broke my foot. Like, and again, I was able to get the red shirt for that winter season. But like, would you hold that against me? Like at that point to be like, well, no, you don't deserve another thing of eligibility because you already competed in a couple of meets.
I don't know. I don't think there's really like a right answer to this. Like,
right.
It just, I guess it's just like what is morally correct? Because I know even you brought up like, well, what about the pros? The point is that it's professional. This is supposed to be like type of like amateurism. So it's like,
True.
it's a little bit like different. They're definitely like murky waters, and that's the reason why I think NCAA could get away with a lot of stuff, because there's like a lot of gray areas. Like you just said, it'd be very cut and dry to be like, you're an amateur, they're all kids, so they should be kids. Well, what about one that gets hurt for 2 years? Okay, well then there's that, and then I'm sure that there's like a couple other scenarios where you're like, oh yeah, that's true too. So I mean, it's tough. I guess you could exempt like injury, but then they just make up injuries.
Right.
Oh, I got turf toe. Okay. Well, you look fine. No, I definitely have turf toe. Like, okay. Until I'm done with red shirting, then now all of a sudden my turf toe, it doesn't exist.
Right.
But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting thing to think about. Because there's some dudes that in the draft, and all of a sudden I'm like, they're 26, like 20. I'm like, Jesus, like what the fuck? Like,
what was it? It was like Brandon Whedon, like went to the Browns. Wasn't he like 28, 29? And he had played. I think the big thing about him was he played like he went to the MLB for like a couple of years or something, and then he came back and played at Oklahoma State, and then Cleveland drafted him when he was like in the first round when he was 28 years old, and he sucked. I mean, granted, he went to Cleveland, so of course he was gonna suck, but like it wasn't an advantage there, but it almost like you were like, I remember sitting there being like, what the hell? This guy played professional baseball and now he's playing quarterback for Oklahoma State. Like the guy has professional experience. What the hell's going on? But again, it wasn't in that sport. So the NCAA was like, well, whatever. Like he didn't go pro in football and then try to come back and play in the NCAA. So it is what it is. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it feels very sticky.
It's just, yeah. Okay. So I guess that leads me into like almost like kind of my final like thoughts on this is if you have one thing either about yourself or about the entire NCAA that you could change to make it better, whether it was for yourself or just in general for any student athletes out there, what would you do for the NCAA?
I think it should be nonprofit. I think that there should be like, how there's like, we were talking about like salary caps. I think there should be a cap that all D1 schools should be able to make, and then all money made after that amount would they get reinvested into smaller institutions. If you're really worried about kids' education, then all of that extra cash you shouldn't be able to buy yachts and private jets and all this other shit. It should be reinvested into other institutions. Like, oh, this school's struggling, this one can't finance this department or whatever. There should be like a slush fund that like schools would be able to pick from that is generated from money from amateur athletics.
Yeah.
If you want to keep it amateur, it's never going to happen. Nobody's ever going to give up money. So
yeah. Of course not.
It's just printing money. Stop printing money. Yeah, we're not going to do that, but I don't know. maybe we'll wear like a ribbon or something. Like, okay, cool, thanks.
Great. You want to hear my grand idea that would fix the NCAA in a heartbeat?
Oh yeah.
Just like no drug tests. Just like that. Was it that comedian or whatever? Or I think was it Dennis Leary or I forget whoever it was that was like, give them all the steroids, let them go to town and just juice out of their minds and just be like, let them go nuts. Like, could you imagine? No, I'm totally kidding. I would never want to see this. I mean, I don't know what my picture perfect NCAA is. Cause again, like we said, like the nonprofit thing sounds like actually it would be good, but at the same time, like the NFL, I think is considered nonprofit and they're like, yeah. Or at least it was. I think that was like a thing for a while where like the NFL was considered like nonprofit. It was like I think it was like a tax evasion thing, if I'm being honest with you. Again, I could be way off here. I'm not entirely like, again, this is all either stuff that I thought I heard or I read at some point, or maybe I'm just full of shit. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this by any means. But I think the biggest thing that the NCAA, if there's something that I could pick that's non-money or eligibility that would make things a lot better, is making sure, kind of what I talked about earlier in the episode, was making sure that student athletes are protected if anything does happen to them injury wise, where again, I'm pretty sure, unless things have changed, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm pretty sure that schools can still, revoke scholarships or cut kids or whatever you want to call it if they get injured and it's like, well, can't play football anymore, get the fuck out of here. Like, no, don't. That's not, I'm not okay with that. It's like, if you promised a student athlete, you promised them a spot, because of their ability to play a sport, you should still be able to sit there and say, hey, you have every right to earn a degree from this institution to better your life going forward, whether you continue to play that sport professionally or not. And that's the biggest thing is like you see a lot of these guys again. I have a friend who went to a college that, he played football for Division II, if I'm not mistaken. And he ended up getting injured at one point. And I think it was like his junior and senior year that they were like, well, you're no use to us. So either pay for school on your own or get the fuck out of here.
That's as long as they keep like an academic level, right? Like
no,
just drinking and booze. No, I'm saying like your idea would be like if I got injured at sports, but I continue to like be a student and like a productive student as opposed to like I'm just getting drunk and I'm barely passing with like.
Oh, yeah. Obviously not like, I'm not saying like, a Johnny Manziel type or something like that where it's like, oh, he's clearly not going to classes or whatever. And he breaks his foot and I feel so horrible for him. No, it's more so like, again, if you can prove your value as both like literally it's in the title, student athlete, you're supposed to be a fucking student first. That's the biggest thing. And I think a lot of people forget that at the end of the day, including the institutions, or I should say at least the NCAA does, because a lot of these guys got like thrown to the wayside when injuries came and went. And, again, they don't do enough in that regard, I think. But again, things might have changed since then. I'm not entirely sure.
D3 could do that too. Like I remember I spoke to a couple of coaches and they were like, yeah, we'll get you like an academic scholarship. It's not a sports one, but we're allotted a certain amount. And as long as you keep like a 2.5 or something like that, we could like say that it's an academic scholarship. So they always have ways of doing stuff.
I had one of those.
I think I did too for the first year.
Yeah, I had it for all 4 years actually, because it was, but the way that they made it work was that it got more strict as it went on, and I hated it. It was like you had to have like a 2.0 freshman year, 2.5 sophomore year, 3 junior year, and like a 3.5 my senior year. And senior year was a struggle. How are you gonna tell me I gotta keep a 3.5 when I can legally drink and I'm doing the shenanigans that I've already been doing at that point? It's like, come on. But
yeah. It's whatever. Shit's shady.
It is.
Shit.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, even I think when we got suspended that one time, we had to do community service, and me and Tom were just in the back of like the dining hall, just with the machine was broken to wash dishes, and it was just swampy and nasty. And then we had to work at the student union, and I think I was working at Subway, chopping onions and making bread. Or heating up bread, whatever it was. And then they had, I should find the paper.
I love that paper.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What did you learn from this experience? Well, I learned how to chop onions and throw away dishes or something.
I think I said absolutely nothing. I learned in this experience that the school is corrupt. This is all bullshit. If you really wanted me to be helpful and do community service, we are in like a neighborhood that is terrible. And I should be out there volunteering and helping kids in soup kitchens. But instead, I'm in the school union chopping up onions and working for you for free. I was like, this is bullshit. The whole thing's bullshit. Shouldn't have got suspended in the first place, but this is a scam. And like, I think I sent that in. And I think a couple of our buddies were like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to pretend here. I did my hours for a ping pong ball that they found in the house. Didn't find me in the house, found a ping pong ball. But yeah.
You found me in the house that night. I remember that.
I think, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff with college is shiesty, and it seems like, what was it? It was the thing in Alumni Hall our sophomore year where one window got broken and every single kid in the building got charged, like $150. So like we did the math.
One window.
Yeah, we did the math and it was like 40 grand for like one window. And we're like, what? Like, how is this possible? Like, it's just crazy.
So stupid. Of course. I mean, again, this episode is more focused on NCAA, but yeah, we could go down a whole other rabbit hole when it comes to colleges too. Where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get Springfield knocking on my door. Well, I should say on my mailbox with, "Oh, we look forward to your donations." Like, motherfucker, I donated so much money to you for 4 years. You'll get nothing out of me for as long as I can fucking live. I can tell you that. Yeah, you won't get a single penny more.
Yeah, and we were student athletes, and I just finished paying my loans for a degree that I didn't use last year. So, yeah, I should have tried to get some money from my likeness.
Who are you? I'm Papa Palvo. Pay me now. Oh,
Yeah,
shit. All right.
don't spend this $1.50 all at once. Yeah, it'd be great.
Well,
But
hey, now you can't throw a shot put for at least like 10 weeks because we caught you doing that. That's the big no.
It is funny though that you talked about the how I met you guys at the NCAA clearinghouse. That I was embarrassed that in an auditorium filled with people, the woman up there is like, "Who here isn't the age of at least 18?" And I stood up and my hand was raised, and I was like, she said, "Stand up and raise your hand." So I had to stand up, raise my hand. I'm the only person in an entire auditorium of people. And she's like, "Okay, you, sir," like singling me out. She's like, "You, sir, then you need to have your parents sign this because you're underage." And like, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is like the third week of school, second week of school?
No, it was like literally like the first week. I'm pretty sure it was like a couple days into being at college.
Oh God, it's so crazy. I remember Tom, I think, was sitting next to me because we were like next to each other. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, "Oh, boo, what a little baby. Oh, you need your parents." And I was like, "Shut up. You got a big ass dick." And then everybody just got mad quiet. And then the lady at the podium, I think she heard me. And like, it was just eerily silent. And Tom's face is just mortified. He's like, "What did you do? What did you do? What did you do?" And I just sat down. And then they like eventually just went back to normal. And then that stuck for 4 years plus as our breakdown for the track team, which I was thinking about the other day. I don't know how that lasted when our coach wouldn't let us watch Mortal Kombat on the bus because it was too dirty.
God.
After every meet, we would have our one friend, Chris, who was really loud, yell, "SC track and field." And the rest of us would yell, "Huge dicks." And we did it at every meet. And around parents, around coaches, around everybody, and nobody ever. I don't think one person ever said anything.
Probably because they were just too like bamboozled at the fact that we were actually yelling "huge dicks" after we yelled "SC track and field." Probably just were like, okay, like that just happened, and now what?
Never. Yeah, I don't think it was ever. And then I think it stuck for like a year or two after.
It would be pretty funny if we went to a track meet like now and we just like heard SC track and field and they all just yelled "huge dicks" and be like, "That's the guy right here. Like this guy is the one that's caused that. It's on him."
Yeah, that's gonna be my legacy. It's my legacy. Yelling "huge dicks." Great. God, man.
All right. So in next week's episode, we're gonna talk about regrets and
yeah, no, I don't feel like crying. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
All right, buddy. What do we got? Anything? You got a fun little antidote that we could wrap it up on here? Any good questions or anything that you've been swimming around with? Wet farts, docile llamas, or anything else?
I was thinking the other day that like one, I wanted to try to get a trophy for our fantasy league.
Okay.
Something small so that maybe we can make the loser have to like pay for the shipping to send it to the winner. Like, so it's like $5 or $10 or something like that. But then I was like, if I could have one trophy, what would it be? And then I started thinking of like all the different competitions that there are. And then I started thinking out of the box, which was the one that I wanted to get. So I don't know. Like, I guess I'll riff and then you could try to tell me if you could think of one. Obviously, there's like the Lombardi Trophy, the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Then I was thinking about like, oh, maybe I get like a random World Series trophy, but then I didn't remember if it's the same thing as the Stanley Cup and the Lombardi Trophy, where there's just one trophy and it's just like given to each team and they hold on to it for whatever.
For the MLB? Yeah, I think it's like the flags, right? The World Series, like the golden flags or whatever that thing is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why like they get rings and stuff because they don't actually own the trophy. It's just like they're. So then I'm like, I guess I don't want to own any of those because then hold on, pause. This fucking guy, man. I thought they left.
Leaf blower coming back in right at the end when we're trying to wrap this baby up. This is
and he's trying to come under my door.
That's amazing. Go talk to him. Just be like, "Hey, dude, do you mind? We're trying to talk about trophies right now."
Dude, that was an hour ago.
That was an hour ago. And he's gone just like that.
No, he's not. He's still just he's just looking around the backyard like a psycho.
Maybe he fucking hates the NCAA too, and this is his way of trying to tell us.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Do you want to pause there or you want to just keep going?
I'm leaving all of this in. This is 100% staying in here. Yeah. This is
2
amateur
hours.
hour.
2 hours this guy has been doing the backyard. I don't understand.
We're getting him on as a guest for next week. We're gonna have him talk and just be like, "Hey, you're on the podcast now because your fucking leaf blowing drove us nuts."
He's dead. There's leaves in my freaking living room now. What was I saying?
The trophy.
Trophies. There's like specific ones that obviously you can't really own. So I'm I think even I watched something where there's like a keeper of the Stanley Cup. Like there's some dude that's with the Stanley Cup like 24/7 because they send it from this state to this state to this state and it does appearances and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, that's not fun. So then I thought that I think the one that I would want that you get to take home, and there's multiple of them, is the Global Guts Aggro Crag Trophy.
Oh,
which I found like a little 10-inch 3D printed one for like $50 that I thought about for the league would be pretty sweet. And I was like, I could get, because then I was trying to see like, can you actually buy like the legit, like the ones from the show? Because they exist.
Right.
But they're like, they're usually around like 10 grand and it's super rare they ever come up because obviously the dude who won it must have just been strapped for cash.
Right.
But I was like, having like the actual, not the replica one, like the actual aggro crag, like piece of it, I think would be the coolest trophy that I could possibly own.
That's really cool. I never actually thought about that. No, I got my question is before I answer is what are we considering it just like a trophy that like it has to be a trophy, or could it be something that you consider a trophy?
Not like women's panties from sexual.
No.
You sicko, you sick. You're sick, dude. You're sick. That's disgusting. I can't believe that's what you were thinking. Ashley. Hey, Ashley.
Oh my God, she's not home. First and foremost, I have headphones on, so she can't hear this right now. And if she did, I would be able to defend myself because I was in brownie points. Ashley, you're the trophy I would pick. How about that? Boom. Boo. Yeah. No.
What was that in Community where they're like, why don't you just buy women's underwear? He's like, you can't win. It has to be one in battle. And they're like, oh my God.
We were watching a clip of that today where Abed was the vampire. Is there a version of yourself that would go over there? Yeah. It's like, what was that? It's me, it's a vampire. Anyway, we're off track. I was trying to think of some like good trophies. You know, it would be like a wild one. This wouldn't be. I'll have to think about my real answer that I can give you probably for next week. But like one that I would just think would be so out of the blue and it would just be a great conversation starter would be the was it Nathan's hot dog eating competition?
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, I fucking won that. Be like, no way, and then just bust out that trophy and be like, right here, motherfucker. Beat Kobayashi, beat Joey Chestnut. I fucking slammed down like 60 hot dogs, and I got a trophy right here that says otherwise.
Do they have a trophy?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched the end of it. I'm like, I'm going to watch it this year, and then I get like 30 hot dogs in, and I'm like gagging. I'm like, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then my buddies in a group chat would be like, yeah, Chestnut, 78. And I'm like, cool, done. Like, I don't want to watch it.
I'm gonna look it up really quick. I'm almost positive.
Did you see him jumping? I think they did that on like I forgot what the show was, and they showed like the science of like competitive eating and why they jump. It's like mush down the food in their esophagus and their stomach. It's like I can't watch it anymore.
I don't know about that. I mean, there's got to be eating trophy. Yeah, I'm clicking on it right. Well, this picture has Joey Chestnut and the women's winner with championship belts and trophies.
I would count a belt too. You could like a belt, a championship belt would definitely count.
Yeah, but I want the trophy. I don't want to wear a belt. I want the trophy being like, dude, motherfucker, I just guzzled 70 hot dogs just out of the blue. Once, won it all, and retired.
You heard it here first. Hogan's the Glizzy Gobbler.
The Glizzy Gobbler. That would be, hey, put it right on the trophy, motherfucker. Guess what? That's a conversation starter. That is absolutely a conversation starter. Like, you would not be fascinated. Like, tell me right now that if like the Wienermobile just like went down the road, you wouldn't want to go and talk to the driver and be like, dude, how did you start driving around the Wienermobile?
You mean the Oscar Mayer Wiener?
Yeah. Why not?
For a guy that hated Wienerville, you sure do seem to like want to be involved in other things Wiener.
Okay. The show was weird. It had nothing to do with wieners other than the guy's name, and it was Wienerville, and it was just fucking puppets with giant heads. Super weird. Didn't like that part at all. Hot dogs are delicious. I'm just saying, and I'm not obsessing over French shit this episode, so we're making progress.
That is true.
French shit though.
True.
Wieners.
But yeah, medals would count too. I guess I would have to
Yeah.
count medals and belts. And
All
yeah,
right.
so if you think of something better for next episode, you could definitely just be like, hey, thought about it? This. Okay.
I will. That's how I'm going to open up next week. I'm just going to be like, not even introduce myself, not even say what the name is, where I'm going to screw it up from drinking buds to thinking buds. I'm just going to say, hey, got an idea for a medal that's going to rock your socks. And it has nothing to do with glizzling wieners or whatever the hell you said.
A glizzy is I'm going to say it's a kid's term, but I feel like it was like it was a kid's term probably like 10 years ago. A glizzy is a hot dog.
Whatever the hell it is.
Did you not know that? You just thought I was just making up a word?
No. I heard the term. I haven't thought about it or heard it in a hot minute. So glizzy, whatever that is. Yeah. I'm not with the times, as you can tell. We went off the rails in this shit.
I'm hip.
How you do, fellow kids? All right. That's all we got the time for today. I'm wrapping this shit before I embarrass myself any further with this dumbass crap.
Bye.
We love you guys. We'll see you next episode. Until then, don't be glizzian like me.
Nom nom nom.